Welcome everyone, part 2 to the Permabull Tokenomics protocol deep dive. Are you ready? Are your bodies ready out there? I certainly am. Man, I'm excited for this. There's not gonna be much of an intro at all because we got a lot to go through. We got an hour, as usual, an hour, 20 minutes or so to get it all done. First time didn't work out so well on that. However, we hit a lot of key concepts. I'm gonna hit a lot of key ones today. A lot of people have been asking questions trying to figure out this protocol, and the basic questions, I don't know. I think look at tinyurl.com/learn-permabull to go through some of the basics. We're going to go beyond the basics today for sure. But without further ado, let's get them back on the channel. Kinetics, Giffordwear, and Crypto Kool-Aid. How's it going, gents?
What's going on, all?
It's a pleasure, man. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, and we really appreciate all the stuff you've been doing.
You give me a fascinating project and you give me a price that goes up, and boy, you give me the tech, give me the principles. I like it, that kind of thing. You guys have been doing an excellent job just being able to, you know what, you haven't been doing an excellent job putting out information. I'll say that. You go on streams and you're like, oh, we're just going to have a conversation. You guys ask all the questions. You leave all the secret sauce on the table. I've got around that. I found a way. I went around it. I've came up with a lot of good questions, and that's how I'm going to beat you. You're going to get beat today. We're all going to, how can I say that?
Oh, there's going
to be a lot of winning today. A lot of winning today. How about that?
This is just the next stop before the final boss.
That's right. So you got the principles, not the promises then, huh?
Man, you keep coming up with these phrases, Larry. Keep coming with these phrases.
I'm Captain Metaphor. I'm Captain Metaphor.
We're going to jump into it because there's a lot to get to. Chat, I'm sorry, you're going to be neglected today on purpose. I guess it's not neglected, it's on purpose in that way. But we got a lot of stuff to talk about. But I want, for people first watching, otherwise, right before we get into the saucy stuff, briefly, the core principles. I think Kool-Aid's already started with that too. Why are the principles of the Permabull, the GIF ecosystem, however you want to call it right now, superior to a lot of the popular ideals out there that a lot of people are used to, and they just, when they see this kind of stuff, they just don't know, how to interpret it. Why is it better? Why should they pay attention? Creation, not inflation, principles, not promises stuff. Can you just go through that just for a couple minutes to get people safe?
Yeah, sure. So when we develop $100 million game, we have pillars. It's very important when you're dealing with 200 people in a studio, 400 people on an outsourced team, to have something they can look up on a wall to be like, is this what we're really doing? And refer back to the pillars. And so we started with pillars, with Gifford, Ken, and I just going through the different ideals and idioms that we wanted to create. And the first one, again, was no leaky boat. We started with that, but eventually creation, not inflation, is the most important part of no leaky boat. And then from there, we have creation, not inflation. Then we have no leaky boat, which always handles the ship, because at that point, everything else we add to that is always guided by the lens of no leaky boat. Then we do simulation, not speculation, because we want to test our things in real time, especially from where we started with creating Pulsar to then moving all the different rungs to bring this into fruition. And then we have principles, not promises. We are adhering to our pillars as we go. And there's so many more that I can go through, but I'm just saying that pillars are the most important thing to handle a $100 million project, not market cap, dollars. So that's what we do in entertainment. And everyone should be adhering to that when they want to take something like DeFi for all and apply it to something more than forking code or making magic internet money or all the rest of that. So that's the idiom of all that.
It's one of those things, again, people go to tinyurl.com/learn-permabull. I've clipped so many things from this channel, from other channels too, just to talk about the core principles and things like that. Everyone listening today, I think a lot of people are either already sold on the ideal, they've looked at the tech, maybe they don't quite understand it. I think maybe we can talk about that for a minute too, just revolutionizing the ideal of LP and using that to buy and sell. And does that have anything to do with the lack of red candles on the chart? Like, yeah, who wants to take that and just talk about the avoiding market selling type of thing that this is bringing up?
May I take this one, please?
Well, let me just put one little note before you take that. Go
absolutely not. No, go ahead. I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
No, it's the interesting thing is, like, when you play a game, does it matter how it's made, or if it's best for the protocol or the user, it's best for your experience. That's it. Most people don't care about how a game is made. They just care, did they enjoy their experience? Go ahead, Ken.
Yeah, I mean, I guess to give a little more context on that, we went through countless hours of trying to plug all the leaky holes between the three of us right here, especially. And every time we think we'd come up with something, one of us, and usually GIF would be the first one to say, nope, that's going to hurt the protocol long term. So we had to refine it from the ground up with some of the same principles we started with. But as a result, I think that also helped with this this chart, because you've got essentially two tokens that are literally one token, if you think about it. They are interchangeable. All you got to do is play the protocol fee to turn into the other. And that's part of the reason for it, because if one goes up, there's an arbitrage opportunity both ways. So if it's above the ceiling price, you can sell down to the ceiling price and then buy your other asset the underlying asset, which be GIF or ICOSA in this case, and you can bring that back up. Or the other way, if it's below, you can actually use directly from the underlying asset, buy into the Permabull version, and it brings it back up as well. So there's this teeter-totter, the seesaw effect. Kool-Aid, I know you're going to be excited to hear that, the seesaw effect. But there is this seesaw effect that they kind of each keep continually drag each other up. So that's part of the reason for it. But going back to your original question, yes, absolutely. We, from the very beginning, have told people, please, guys, exit correctly. Don't pay slippage. Don't dump the market on, because the slippage can be so huge, especially at the beginning before the liquidity really had a lot of buy side pressure to it. One of the advantages of some of the people that were providing liquidity, you could tell they were trying to make a little bit back in the front with a bigger sell wall. But what a lot of people don't talk about, even in the trading communities, is as you go through that sell wall, that actually creates a very, 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 very thick buy wall on the back end too, as long as no one pulls that LP. So the people who were worried originally about, oh, there's too much of a sell wall, well, as long as the people that are providing liquidity, which our community has been great about this, it's just not pulling that LP, it becomes buy wall. And then on top of that, you actually get less slippage when you're first getting into it. And we kind of liked the idea that the community provided thicker liquidity at the beginning, because it was better for the token distribution. There was less slippage as things went up. But we have talked about this, probably not as much in the last week. We've been so busy, as we had pounded into the chat earlier. It's like, guys, set your liquidity ratios the way you want. Not only are you going to not eat slippage, you're going to get a higher price for your token if you set the range correctly, and you're going to earn fees. So it's a triple whammy, and our community is just brilliant. The guys that get it, that understand how this permabull thing works, and that are just super permabullish themselves, they've figured out, like, hey, why would we ever market dump ever again? So we're blessed to have the community that we do in our chat room.
Hashtag never dumping.
Yep.
Legal loans is never selling. It really is. It is incredible. And I mean, there's been other projects and stuff in the ecosystem that there's different LP plays and stuff like that. I think the ideal is catching on here, but with this token in particular, again, we're going to pull up the chart in a bit and talk about it too. But it's just one of those where, with the mechanics, with the systemic design, as Cool DEUX is saying stuff too, maybe it is that key to making a really nice chart, a really good positive feedback loop, a really good way to take value and retain it throughout the system. I think it's incredible what I've seen so far from it.
Remember, it's two different loops, right? You have a reinforcing loop. Both of those, if you study systemic design, Mike Sellers, please watch the videos. I can't say it enough. That is how you understand a reflexive systemic system. Very important.
And again, for people,
in other words, Kool-Aid's teaching a game dev design on the side, and that's actually just ancillary. So if you show up in the chats, you will also get a game designer education as well. So
I mean, that's why these things work, right? Game design is the reflexive of life, right? The art of play, from puppies to primates, is how we exist. If you understand that, you understand more than just checkers, chess, or backgammon.
And Giff, what is the 2-minute explanation for people? Like, where where we came from iBurn just launched, stuff like that, just to get people, I'll bring everyone up to speed on the products and the ecosystem at this point. GIF, PGIF, iBurn. Where are we today with the protocols?
Sure. Yeah. So obviously we began with the GIF token. And then, we spent a good, how long, guys? Was it like it was like 2 months, right? We had 2 months to build and deploy the 3 smart contracts that go with the PermaGIF.
Mm-hmm.
And you could see noticeably a very large difference in the price chart right around that launch of PermaGIF. That's where things really started to get wild.
Yep.
So that launched, and it was a pretty flawless launch. Everything that the contracts were meant to do have done since day one. There's been no issues. There's been 0% downtime, if you will, Max.
You mean 100% uptime, don't you? Shout out to Crypto Fluff. Shout out to Crypto
It means we were up 100% of the time. That's what that really means.
Yeah, it means we never slept.
I prefer the glass half full approach, so I'm going to go with that. Okay.
Yes. So that's been running fantastic, and then this is an experiment, right? I've been saying this from day one. Like, we are experimenting with these brand new tokenomics, these brand new mechanics, and we're running in real time. So we were watching that run. There you go. There's a good look at our gorgeous front end there, if I may say so. Gorgeous. Beyond that, we wanted to test. We needed to test more things. Like this was not the end of our testing. There was still more to experiment with, and the big one that I wanted to experiment with was essentially, how do we deal with wrapped tokens that are on PulseChain, or even on Ethereum, or even on any other EVM for that matter? Can we really force parity between tokens across chain? Because this is stuff that we've theorized, right? And so, that's why we have iBurn. We wanted to see if we could cause some sort of parity between the two ICOSs. That is a very important experiment in my mind to see come through fruition. So we got that launch.
14.5%. 14.5% is the spread now between eICOSA and pICOSA. Just went from 50% less to 14.5% less now.
I love it.
And that's so wild in what, a week, less than a week? Oh God, a few days.
Well, and it took us a week to really get the wheels cranking on PGIF too. So I think we're right on track, guys.
What do you guys think about wild? This is par for course for what's been happening the last few weeks or so. It should happen this fast, right? Like, the no expectations of happening very fast should
have happened yesterday.
Yeah.
Two weeks.
Sunday was Friday, so there's that too. It worked out. So the GIF, you did design some beautiful interfaces here. I will say they are fun to use. They are nice colors, and I like them very much.
Now the colors all go to Mr. Durpin himself. We have literally the best UI UX guy in the world. I built a metaverse with him 13 years ago. One of my oldest, dearest friends. He is the warlord when it comes to anything.
He is
UI UX.
Dude, the guy in like 5 minutes will put out stuff that's like 10 times better than what people have been working on for months. It's just crazy how good this guy is. So he's just amazing. Yep.
If you did any less, I would be surprised. Okay. No, shout out to Mr. Durpin. That's amazing interfaces. And yeah, it's all right. Right before we get to deep dive, I just want to pull this up real quick because I want to get your all's take on this. I had to do it the other day. I was thinking of like, man, there's like really funny ways of talking about this. I remember when Gift told me about it. First told me about it, just very nonchalant, very like, oh yeah, there's a token thing. I'm like, well, you have a meme token now? Like, what's going on? What is it? What was the plan for all this stuff? And I was just thinking about it. And then eventually I figured out, oh, there may be some more to this thing. And then ever since then, I was like, man, GIF, why don't you tell me harder, man? Why don't you tell me harder about that? You told me harder. So that's why I added to the list here. What's your best new catchphrase for the GIF and Permabull protocols on PulseChain? Get allergic to selling is the number 2 place, which I think is pretty good. Wish you told me harder. Number 3 looks like buy and burn it all. Apparently that was the dark horse. I didn't think that was going to play too well, but that actually did really well. I mean, there's only 29 votes, but anyways, I'm sure there'll be 229 next time I do a poll like that, or somewhere close to it, with the exponential rise of all the numbers that's been going on. And it's like super leveraged. This is one I think I did a clip and talked about that, and that was Crypto Elite. That was like, he, paraphrasing, but he was talking about how with the GIF and PGIF, how it hasn't really mattered, at least so far, what Pulse has done. If it goes down, the GIF and PGIF still go up. If it goes up, GIF and PGIF go. If it goes sideways, like, it doesn't really matter. It's like one of those, it's gaining in Pulse terms, but there doesn't seem to be a correlation with Pulse, which I think, I was like, what do you even call that? I was like, is that super leverage? Like, what is that even called? Which, it kind of led me into that one too. But what do y'all think? What is?
I mean, theoretically, it's fat kid, skinny kid on a seesaw, which no one understood for a long time until I had to draw kinetics some Sunday comics. But do you want another what the fuck Larryism in a pillar, Max?
I'll take as a yes.
So
yes.
What are the two things that Richard says makes you rich in crypto?
Holding and founding.
Everyone says two, but originally I swear there was three. But then I keep listening to old clips, and he actually broke up the founders. It was founders of
tokens and exchanges. Yep.
Yes. So that's secret sauce, some RH stuff right there. But yes,
Max has been paying attention. I love this.
He always does. So let's break down systemic design of what our token does. Our token gives you the ability to understand multiple reflections or spokes on a wheel, where gift tech is the hub. So if you hold gift tech, and more importantly, if you create PermaGIF, you are now a founder, period. Because there is no bags for all of us that came out of liquid supply. We all bought our own. We all did our own, and we're building upon our own. So that's where, when people say like, oh, the people don't want to sell and all the rest of it, yeah, they realize they're founders. They realize that they can use the Jeep-proof tech that we've built to obfuscate any dumpers, and then remove that token from supply due to, as you call it, the double buy and burn, but it's a reflexive or a systemic buy and burn, and how it breaks apart the system. So all the people that hold the tokens and they say, oh, I got in too late. Do you want to be a founder? Do you want to actually sit at the bedrock of this new paradigm of technology? That's the difference. And that's why, if you do want to exit your position, obviously as a founder, you do it appropriately. LP out, taking permanent loss, off you go. It's very, very, very simple. But again, another huge pillar is that if you're in our community and you have sat and watched all the damn game dev videos, you understand that we are building something very different from the components out and through the components back in. That you are a founder. Hold your tokens. Treat your perma tokens not as ARBs. You can use them as ARBs. Yes, that's a tool. However, remember, the creation aspect removes the JEETs. It removes the supply. And that is a very precious asset.
Wow. Minting value, becoming a founder. Like that's
creating, not minting.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is fair launch. You guys, we had to participate just as much as anyone else that came into this. There's no team allocation. There's no sacrifice, and we're going to keep that whatever you sacrificed for. This is we had to participate also. And we had reached out to some people individually just to see if anyone was interested, and no one bit. No one wanted to talk about it. No one wanted to get in on it. So we said, well, we'll just build it and they will come. And so that was kind of been our ethos going forward. They will either come or they will hate it and reject it, and we'll let the market decide. Either way, we're okay with the results.
As a great segue into the deep dive part of here. Again, chat, I know I've seen some questions or some eye glance of them, but I don't know if we're going to get to any or many today. If you guys see some in the chat that are directly relevant when we're talking, feel free to bring them up. But for now, I really want to talk about first topic I want to cover, which is something that is elusive for a good reason though too. I know you guys you want to keep no expectations for some of these protocols. Totally reasonable. There's definitely a lot of founders in the ecosystem that do that for good reason. We want to create value here and all that stuff too. However, the biggest piece that I think is hard to put together for this, but it's also one of the most exciting ones, as Cooley was talking about a second ago, is the buy and burn for these protocols. So, without giving expectations, without, how can we understand the buy and burn first, just at a super simple level quickly? And then how do we even know it exists? Like, what is the proof of buy and burn for Permabull?
Which one wants to take it? Ben, you want to take it?
I want Gift to explain what the buy and burn is and how this one's different than others. And then I'll go ahead if you guys want me to. I can pull up the scan.PulseChain to.
Oh, here. Let me. There's actually that's not as good as for this case. I'm gonna put it in the private chat.
Got it.
Otter scan is actually better for watching this.
Okay.
So I got you the link there, Max. So what makes this buy and burn different than most others? Well, for number one, it's one of the most aggressive buy and burns we've seen yet. Usually you'll see a buy and burn rate of, you look at PulseX, what does it come down to? It's like 0.03%. I can't remember. Maybe you could correct me on that, Max. On each transaction, what was it?
Oh, man.
It was a 0.3% fee, right? And then if you're talking about V2, then it's like the 0.03 of that 0.3.
Yeah, that's
but if I can dip in there real quick and put a pin in what you're saying, that was the daddy concept of all of us, right? The daddy. However, that's not bringing economic energy into the buy and burn to spin it up like a Dyson sphere, because this is what the Permabull is. It's actually a Dyson sphere wrapping around that economic energy and binding it into a whole.
Yeah, so it was a very high rate. That's basically my point. Is we were all like, being in the Hex community, we were all really stoked about PulseX because of the buy and burn. It's like, okay, there's a set amount of tokens, and then it can only be deflationary, right? Because as more volume runs through the protocol, you get more burn. So that was amazing. What makes our Permabull tokenomics different is going to be the rate at which it burns, and it also directly affects the token that just came into existence, right? So in order to bring a token into existence, you have to attach yourself as a Permabull. Even if you're just arbitraging price, even if you're not really a Permabull, your funds make you a Permabull. That's the only way you can actually mint the new token. So that kind of puts things in separation a little bit. Okay, let's look at this. So this is the buy and burn contract for Permagift. Okay. So what this is showing you here is how much, first off, the balance is how much PLS is sitting in there ready to be used for the buy and burn. And if you scroll down, this is super cool because iBurn's launched. Look over in the right-hand column there where it shows where the funds are coming from. You see it coming from both the Permagift, from minting Permagift, and you see it coming from iBurn, from people minting iBurn. So it's getting fed by two protocols right now. So that's pretty sweet. Now, this buy and burn hasn't been run for a few days, right? So maybe there's some experimenting going on right there, right? That's all we can really assume. But I want you to pull up one more, and I'll just give you the direct link again, Max.
Cool. Is it okay if I share the links in the chat as well?
Of course. Okay. All right. So here comes the other one. This one is the iBurn. The iBurn buy and burn. Just refresh it. Refresh it. There we go.
Yeah.
All right. So this
we love
one
our block explorer.
is going to be a little more informative if you're trying to track the actual execution of the buy and burn. So right now you see that we just had a buy and burn go through 2 minutes ago, and you can tell because the method has this it's a hex decimal number under the method. Do you see where it's 0xFC0907B? This is a pathway for running through Pateus. So that's where that comes from. So go ahead and click on that transaction hash there. and you'll see it in action. So right here, if you look on the right, it's showing that looks like 15 million PLS was used in this buy and burn. And then you could scroll down a little bit, and it'll show you the routes of what it went through, because it's using Pateas, right? Look at it. It's getting best order execution, hitting all these different pairs, different pools. And then at the bottom there, what do you see there? What's going to that 0 address? iBurn. So in that one transaction, 4,515 iBurn were destroyed. They were deleted. That's why you see the little line through the 0x, the 0x address right there. So that's the protocol working at full strength, doing everything it's supposed to be doing.
And you know what's really funny is I never really understood the difference in between sending to the dead address or the black hole or all the rest of that versus being able to actually delete it. It was wild when the GIF explained this to me, because then I run my game design theory head and all the hamsters go out and they go run. And it was just wild, the difference between them. Because if you want to go to the deep dive we talked about before, we theoretically could burn other things if we wanted to, but we wanted to simulate sending to the dead address because not all tokens are built to burn. And so we can do both of our simulations at the same time. Remember, simulation, not speculation. This is why we're doing things in very onion peeled components that are very worthwhile before we make our next step.
How come nobody else is smiling? This stuff like gets me excited, man. Like watching this on chain, like this was like blowing my mind when I was first pulling it up, because I'm like a first time founder. I'm still really wrapping my head around all this development on blockchain, and to actually like write this stuff out and then see it launched, see the launch through, and then see the first buy and burn get executed, and then to track the execution on chain and watch Pateas do its thing. And it's just, I'm sorry, the nerd in me just gets so excited on this stuff. It's so
I mean, after I start
incredible.
doing the Inception character, believe me, I have seen your face enough that I'm always smiling when I get to see you, my dear friend.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, this is like not Star Wars nerdy. This is like pocket protector nerdy, but like so cool at the same time.
So it's got, just sitting in here, just for people listening too, we got almost 1 billion PLS sitting in the buy and burn.
Check that's Permagif. Now go check the iBurn. We didn't even look at that.
Wow, 2 billion.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now
Wow.
I would like you to theorize, if you may, how much buy and burn is necessary to completely remove GIF and PGIF from existence versus what is there. That's an interesting thought bubble.
Okay, well, there's about 14 thought bubbles going on right now. Wow, that is an interesting one. Okay, so just while I'm trying to track this too, where can we see each time the buy and burn is run? Is there like a list of like the transactions so we can look at to see?
Right there, that method right there. You see that method right there? That's a buy and burn. You see, there's another one just before there. Just keep going down. You'll see all the buy and burns going in. Yep. And if you took the time, you could go on the Permagif buy and burn, go back 5-6 days, and you'll see the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay, and then so each one of these, so you basically filter by method.
Yep.
Find the method, look at the transaction, see at the end of the transaction it shows what's being burned, but and then where can we see what's being? Okay, so yeah, where can we see bought and burned? This is the
amount used. So we call that the source amount in our code. So that's called the source amount. And then because we're pinging Pateas and we're asking for a quote. Same thing when you're refreshing your browser on the front end, right? So we're just doing it on the just on the blockchain or on the back end. So we're pinging them and we're asking for a quote for the swap. And when they come back with the answer, as long as it fits our variables in our restraints, slippage, that sort of a thing, then it'll go ahead and execute. So then when it goes and executes, you can go through there and you can see all the times that it's buying iBurn from different pools. So that's why you see multiple different iBurn transactions in there. And then, but the most important thing is once that transaction is done, at the bottom there, when it shows the amount going to the burn, it doesn't send to the burn address, or it doesn't delete itself until after the transaction's done. So that tells you the total amount of iBurn that was actually purchased. So you got amount in, amount out, and that's the most important thing right there.
I just still can't get over the fact that no one thought before GIF here to run it through a DEUX aggregator and not bottleneck yourself into one pool, but be able to run it across all pairs across the chain at the same time.
I think there's advantages. You could also make the point of, but if you're using the least efficient route, it's pumping the price even more. Right?
Yeah, but then someone's getting an arbitrage someone's getting an arbitrage opportunity where they've got an overpriced token that they can buy cheaper somewhere else, come back over and profit off the users.
And those are usually bots. So the bots are making the money or the difference. And so where does that value come from? It comes from our buy. So they've extracted value from our buy when that happens. So by doing
it offsets our buy and burn capabilities. Yep.
I love it. See that? I mean, again, from outside perspective, like that's the first question. Well, you want least efficient to pump number up. Like that's the native thought, right? That's but then you're like, oh yeah, what about the bots? What about
why don't you just remedy that instead of creating a leaky boat? Why don't you just remedy that by not having too thick a sell side wall after the Permabull version goes live? Some of the people that are in here that have been here for a while might know exactly what we're talking about now.
And what's interesting is that it's all community driven. I will literally throw game dev videos at you at every damn day, but you're going to be able to rehash that into ecology, economy, and how all of those metrics come in so your little settler from civilization can build the biggest house or fortress that it can, because you are a founder in our token if you understand the tools.
You guys are founders.
And you are a founder. And
that's
you
right.
I like it. I need that meme.
You see my shirt?
You get a GIF, and you get a GIF, and you get a GIF.
That's a nice shirt you got there, sir.
This was our graphics guy too. I mean, he just, we talked a little bit about the icon, and all the boys that were in our chats in the early days, they know it was like my profile pic was the original image for the GIF token. That's because we were working with our graphics guy, to come up with something good. And when he nailed me with this, with a couple different renditions of this, I was just blown away. I was like, okay, yeah, we have the best team in crypto.
Yeah.
Oh, don't worry. Your baby picture is going on the Fallout Vault Boy.
And there you go. Well, some people still haven't noticed that GIF logo is got a wrench hidden in it. A lot of people don't notice that. So look harder, guys.
Crypto Durban is the best.
There's some imagery there for a reason.
Paul said, keep trying, Max. I haven't been a poke a hole either. I think that is the coolest thing. One of the coolest things. There's lots of cool things, but the cool thing about this too is if you have constructive criticism or you think you have a point that is worth discussing or otherwise, again, Telegram, lots of people in there. That's been growing a lot. Founders are, fairly available as far as on stream. And I took community questions. Only got one in the community question thing that I'll get to in a bit too. But being able to look at this and be like, again, I was telling the guys earlier, I'm like, it's one of those things where it's put together so well that I'm looking for a problem. I'm looking for something that is not quite right or off or whatever. And again, I'm not the smartest guy ever, but I haven't found it yet. And I feel like I've studied a lot of different protocols, and this is something that is special and unique. And I haven't heard anyone be able to say otherwise yet. And if they do, that'll be interesting to know. There's always, it's a builder token. I'm sure there's improvements to be made for building on it too, but it's fascinating. Anyways,
the day trader and the pump and dump groups didn't like our liquidity setup, so we went to the community and told them that there was some people that didn't like the way it was set up. They didn't want to trade in and out of it because they liked less efficient order execution, I guess, and so the community changed it up for them, and off to the races we went. I mean, I give a lot of credit to the actual Permabull token being attached to it at that point in time, but that I think helped also as well. Some guys just wanted, they didn't care if they had slippage to the upside as long as they had a way to exit out on the backside.
And that's a very interesting simulation. Again, all of the things that we do is a different rung of taking a gesture, taking the back test of all that data, seeing how it works before we push the next step forward. And nobody does this, period. They don't have pillars, period. all of this is crypto has been forced into a little blinder headline that nobody's trying to do anything different because it's convenient. Just do what someone's done before and put new lipstick on a pig or paint the car red or whatever it is. They haven't gone down to brass tacks and looked at everything on why it works, not what to buy, but why. And then tried something experimental by trying to completely reevaluate the current on how the economic energy is being generated and used.
Well, let's tie a bow on this whole buy and burn thing too. We saw the transactions, we saw it on chain, how it's working, what it's doing. What about on the chart? How can we see it reflected on the chart?
Wait, last thing though. Jump back go back a page showing the iBurn balance again. Right there. So just for everybody who can't read that, it's 2.1 billion PLS in there. So let's think about what that means. What that means is this is a heartless, emotionless, smart contract that nobody needs to trust, that its only goal is to buy iBurn and burn it. And people ask, why would I want to hold iBurn?
Do you have 2 billion pulse buy pressure for the token that you want? That would be my answer.
It's one thing to say, well, we got whales that are going to buy up. It's like, cool, but then they own it. Now you're trusting that they're not going to dump it.
So that is, I think that is the biggest question since iBurn is launched, or even before it is, why, I see people asking in Telegram and stuff, why would I mint iBurn instead of just ICOSA? Like, why would I hold one or the other? And here you're pointing, that again, can you just kind of speak to that, just to reiterate too, that the answer to that question could be this balance.
Let me pull this up here. Was that a question? I'm sorry.
I kind of prompted it as a question, but everyone was silent. So like, maybe
no, I mean, I can always talk.
I know. I'm trying to pull up. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so let's just say this is a balance within 3 days. Now, if you look at the other side of what the Permabull has, this one's actually buying and burning. The other one is a different simulation. Again, this is all experimental tech. Why? Because we're doing things differently than anyone has ever done. No fork code. This is all the GIF in hard hat, running and writing. Nobody is doing any type of Open Zeppelin, Anvil, or any of the rest of that. And that's why it takes stages to do it. But if you can see that there's 2.1 billion pulse, Jesus, has it only been 3 or 4 days?
Yeah. There's only 2.5 million iBurn even created at this point in time. And we've got how many? What was the circulating supply? They were just a little bit different between eICOSA and pICOSA, but you know what the total aggregate supply was for both of them? Off the top of your head?
Off the top of my head, and I'm probably wrong. Let's throw out like 30 million, something like that.
No, that's just one side, isn't it? So it'd be 60 aggregate.
I have to check my website.
Regardless, this is 2.5 million have been created to fill the gas tank of the buy and burn to the tune of 2.2 billion pulse.
Right. And remember, Gift Tech is proof of pulse till we deploy it somewhere else on a different chain.
That was just liquid. There's actually quite a bit of ICOs out there. Sorry, but there's still like 64 million staked on the Ethereum side, and another 40 million is liquid. So combined, it's like 100 million on each chain. So there's still a healthy balance still yet to be burned.
200 million. So we're at 0.1% of the supply right now.
It's that really right?
Has been burnt.
Holy Lord. And it used to be that there was around 90% of ICOSA was staked, and now it's down to 62%.
Yep.
But staking isn't doing anything, right, Alex? You're not getting anything without.
It's very, very minimal. There's still rewards, but it is very, very minimal.
Well, if iBurn is successful.
Well, no. What we are trying to do is restart the icosahedron flywheel. The entire component
I
system.
don't remember disagreeing with you there, Kool-Aid. I agree with you very much, sir.
Oh.
I think I started his point actually.
Aisle 3.
But no, again, just to clarify for people who ask the question, keep asking like, hey, why do I need to? I know if I put in ICOSA, I put in Pulse, I make a new token. Why not just hold ICOSA? Why do I need to put in the Pulse to mint the new thing? Is the buy and burn like is that what would be an answer? It's like, hey, there's somebody
You
buying and
can
burning
get
stuff.
it so cheap with EICOSA right now. So you can run EICOSA and or PICOSA through the protocol to create iBurn. And right now it is just so much cheaper. Imagine when the buy and burn happens to utilize some of this gas in the tank and that iBurn price runs away and goes way above that ceiling price of EICOSA because we're pretty close. The iBurn is pretty close to the ceiling price. It's just under the ceiling price of PICOSA, which is the more expensive. So you're almost getting double the value right now if you're going into EICOSA and turning it into iBurn and just sitting back and waiting for that buy-in.
Yeah, and I wonder about those people that thought eHex was dead. Oh, silly boys.
Come on, buddy, load. That all that stuff works. I don't know why it's not. But I wanted you to look at the chart more importantly, or maybe there you go. Come on, it works on my end.
This is
Definitely not my fault.
Whenever you need to deliver anything, it breaks.
It's every time I send you
There you
something,
go.
Max. You're always like, "Oh, there it goes. There it goes." Okay.
You
Well,
know
let's
what?
start. At
I
the
use
top.
different browsers, by the way. That is not a correlation. I use different browsers. Okay.
Fair. You just have literally every security protocol a human could put on their computer, and I know you're running all that. Well, anyway, scroll up to the top there. Probably, yeah. Scroll up to I want to see the chart. So this is the chart that I used to talk about all the time. That I was like begging devs who, before I was a dev, just like begging devs, like build this chart. I want to see ICOSA versus the B share. This is such an important chart. And here's the crazy thing. So over the last year, the B share has obviously always been beating ICOSA. And now look what's happening just in the last few days. Now you've got ICOSA beating the B share. This is the beginning of starting the flywheel. This is the on blockchain, on Dart. Like this is the technical analysis to say this is where things flip. This is where we can start to make a real impact in the Hex ecosystem.
Yep.
I love it. I love that chart.
Wow.
Yeah, it's funny that it kind of gives the tertiary side effects, or that it helps spawn Hex price in a way via Hex staking long term and trading it in for something of more value, and then being able to repeat the process over and over again with this arbitrage opportunity with ICOSA and Hedron and HSIs and Hex, and so be able to like almost reboot the ICOSA auctions and make Hex more scarce off the market again. So and this is
Hex scarce. God, what is the phrase there? Make Hex scarce off the market again. There you go.
Yes, absolutely. And it's so funny because we didn't attack the problem directly. You know, we're going around. We're going about it through an ancillary system that works in tandem with the Hex system.
Yes, there's no secret. I love the ICOSA Hedron system. That's no secret. I've been coming on the Max's show for, 100%
uptime.
A year and a half, something like that. Like talking about it.
About a year. You took some time
About a
off.
year.
You took some time off. Your contractual negotiations. You were building something. I don't know, but I didn't see you for a long time. We talked every quarter, and then you're like, "Hey, I made a token." I'm like, "Oh, okay." Well, tell me about Pulsar first, and then this other token thing of yours.
I had to go to dev school, man. I had to go to dev school. I had to learn all this stuff.
I understand. And then we also share a love for AI, so there's that too.
That's
right.
right.
It'll be good. I'm not done with the buy and burn yet, guys.
Okay.
I told everyone at the beginning of the stream we're gonna get to the bottom of this, or at least I thought about saying that. So, Kinetics, you got a chart for us?
I do. It's up. So I'm looking at GIF PGIF. I didn't know if you wanted to look at iBurn, but I wanted to compare these three. I think these are some of the best charts right here. Like right now, currently, you guys, if you guys have GIF and you want to turn it into PGIF, you can get it for a lot cheaper than minting it with the protocol fee. You just need to go through the GIF PGIF pool, because right now the underlying asset is like a reverse floor. It's 10 greater than PGIF right now. So there's anyone who can reach to the computer faster than someone else in this chat, you just got an opportunity to make free money. And this is how this is just an example of the reverse buy. So since this is 974 Pulse, this is all measured in Pulse, guys. If you guys want to know the arbitrage secret with this system, it's all measured in Pulse, not US dollars. And then on the PGIF side is actually almost exactly 10 PLS less than this underlying asset. So going directly through the GIF to PGIF pool, you can arb this down and this back up to the ceiling price, and you'll, for less economic energy, end up with more value than you would running it through the protocol. Now, when these are switched the opposite direction, that's when you want to arb this down and then arb this back up so that it's within that ceiling price. So if anyone's visual like I am, arb down and arb up until they meet that floor price between the two. What I did want to also show on this too is that this is that GIF PGIF pool that I was talking about, that there's a great ARB opportunity right now if someone wanted to make a few bucks for free. And actually probably be pretty, you could probably, well, I'm not going to put out numbers out there. I'm going to let you guys figure that out. But as you've seen this, so there was a lot of volatility between GIF and PGIF at the beginning. Part of it had to do with the fact that the price per PLS was so much lower that 10 pulse differential for when running it through when you run GIF through the protocol, it's GIF plus 10 pulse. So there's a 10 pulse differential. When the price is like 30 pulse per GIF, and then you add an extra 10% on there, that's an extra 33% in price. So that's why you'd see it around here at the 133 percentage back at the beginning here. But as the price has gone up, we're almost at 1,000. If you're looking at 1,000, that 10 pulse differential has just gradually gone down. So you're going to see this flatten out, this line over time. It will never technically be one-to-one. It might just touch temporarily until someone arbs it back into place. But this range between the two is getting thinner and thinner and thinner as the price goes up. For some people who have been asking about that, especially if you're setting your GIF, PGIF liquidity pools. Some people still have the range set up to 1.12 or 1.13, and then they're wondering why it's not triggering in a 24-hour period. It's because all the guys that have this really, really tight range are getting all the trades because the execution is way more efficient. So you're getting skipped over in your pool. So while we have, what is that? I got to pull it back up here, but that pool has $2 million in liquidity, and there's probably only $50,000 of it that gets hit every time someone runs through it because people's ranges aren't tight enough. They're too wide. So just a little bit of alpha there for all of you guys that want to provide liquidity and make a little extra cash that way as well. Because we love that our community provides all of our liquidity, and arbitrage is the price the way that they see it. When we show it to them, they see instantly that there's that value there.
I want PulseChain to dominate liquidity providing and just literally teach the entire crypto and DeFi how to do this stuff, because we have the people to do it. We have the projects that benefit from it and all that stuff too. And I think we can, especially this kind of stuff, especially when there's reasons to. I don't know, like we're gonna get the t-shirt, we're getting all t-shirts. Stop market selling. Stop market selling t-shirts. Stop dumping. No dumping. Like dumping, it's got a dump sign, you got to cross people through it. Like use LP, use there's more than farming, there's more than earning incentive tokens. You can actually execute trades, essentially through the LP positions. It's pretty amazing.
Well, that's the technology thing. That's the funny thing too, is like we talked about at the very beginning of this stream. We talked about LP. The community members providing LP, and that's part of the reason we don't have these huge red candles. We don't have a lot of people market selling. Why would you? When, again, going back to exactly what I said earlier, there's no slippage if you set liquidity. The other person pays the gas fee to execute the trade. You make liquidity, you make fees off of that. Like there's no downside to if you can just be a little bit more patient. Now, if the bill just came in because you got a new kidney and you got to go pay the hospital real quick, okay, I guess you can market dump. But if you've got a day or two to let something execute, just put it in within a narrow range and let it fill out through the other side.
And furthermore, the people that understand our tools, the founders that have been there for a while, know how to use the tools correctly. And something that I just walked away and listened that made a great point, Kinetics, is that we are creating parity with our own token, which is where iBurn is going to be creating parity between two different tokens, between two different chains. And when you see how those bonded liquidities work in between each other, now you're really understanding the secret sauce of why systemic design actually works. And for people that need random token prices or random anything, this is the thing I do in my day job. I take the number I think I know in my head that is correct. I divide that in half, and I divide that in a third. And that's why I'm usually not wrong, because I have actual systemic expectations on what the real number should be. However, I'm using my bootstrapped way to think about how it should work. So that way I can ladder up what I think my simulation is going to execute on when it actually delivers.
All right. I love these little detours we take on because there's so many little nuggets in here. I hope everyone's listening very, very closely. Very, very close. I'm going to clip this stuff anyways, but listen very closely if you're still here.
There's an ARB opportunity right now between EICOSA and iBurn right now. Just want to throw that out there. That's what I was calculating. You can't see my calculator on the screen, but you just take the amount of iBurn in Pulse, and you take the EICOSA price in Pulse, subtract the two. If it's greater than 1,500, you guys got an opportunity to sell a little bit of iBurn down and buy some EICOSA back up to run it back through the protocol.
Kinetics, I think you need like your own show, and you're wearing a t-shirt. It's like, you guys want to make some money? Question mark.
You guys want to make some money?
all you're doing is like showing the ARB opportunities on the GIF ecosystem here.
Well, it's so healthy for the ecosystem. It's not a value extraction from the ecosystem. It's actually good for the ecosystem. It's in the ecosystem as well as the user's best interest to use these tools the way that they were created.
And furthermore, to Max, what you said the one time about it burning PLS, it's pushing that economic energy into the ecosystem to take that extraction and push it back into the perma token. That's why a perma token is so bloody valuable at the end of the day.
Amazing. I know. I was like, I know there's something in that conversation I want to have because there's something to get from it, even if I wasn't spot on with it. So yeah, I'm glad you took that and we could riff too.
No,
right.
it was a fantastic point because it's correct. It's taking that economic energy and burning that, not just the pulse, but the entire yield of that weight of power, and then removing that from existence.
Yeah. Proof of buy and burn on the chart. Where can we see it? How do we know it exists, even though we just saw, the transactions, whatever? Are they immutable? I don't know. Show me on the chart. Where the chart go buy burn?
Well, I can show you it. We'd have to filter through these transactions here, but look at this. People were selling down GIF because it was worth too much. It was literally worth too much versus PGIF. Now, some people may just be taking profits. And this is the other one. Let me get. I know I have it on one of the other tabs, but I don't want to go back for it. But look at that. So as people were selling these down, you're seeing buys on behalf of PGIF to arbitrage to get that arbitrage. So you're seeing it in real time on these transactions with these DEX tools. So you can also see it here. Look at this. Boom. So remember how this was 10 higher than this? Boom. All of a sudden, this is 13 actually higher than that. So there's a great opportunity now for someone to come in. Want to make some money? There's a great opportunity for you to come in and buy some GIF right now and bring that back up to the ceiling price, or sell down PGIF and then buy GIF with it.
Well, I'm always looking at
Tokenomics.
I'm always looking at the chart, and I'm seeing, even right here, we can see there's just some thick green candles going on there too. And with the buy and burn, the ICOS has got 2 billion pulse. The GIF PGIF one has almost 1 billion. I don't know the exact numbers of the ones that happened before, but I imagine, or I guess it's a question, do they create candles, and can we see them on the chart?
Yes, you can if you catch them at the right moment, but that's no expectations. So It just really depends on when the African priest is awake and he wants to run that protocol. So,
And by the way, 978 pulse per GIF. I wonder if we'll hit that 10,000x live on stream.
Yeah, so that was an interesting point that Giff brought up to Max earlier, before we even started the stream, guys. If you guys look at, and I actually have it here, I had it. That's why I had that. I screwed it up for everybody. I apologize. But I actually have this chart here that we can show you guys here on V2. If we zoom all the way out to the beginning of GIF, all the way out, and we come all the way to the beginning here. Let's go ahead and make it bigger for everyone to see. But if you, I hate the way that works.
Good luck.
I hate the way that works.
It's
but right here,
it's the chart.
Yeah, it is the chart. I hate that. You have to go mess with the price scale to even be able to lift it.
Wrap PLS there.
What's that?
Switch over to wrap PLS.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry, guys. Correct.
You're good.
So as I go to wrap PL, oh, you're freaking kidding me.
Sorry.
Okay, there we go. There we go. Just got to mess with the price first. But as we get back over here too, because it's not that far away, it's
so say we all,
guys. There we go.
Away,
okay, so hey, Kool-Aid. I don't need your commentary. So if you look at this, where was it? February 3rd.
Right
you
there.
look at the low. It was 0.1 per get 0.1 pull, or I'm sorry, 0.1 GIF per pulse. So
no, pulse per GIF, you had it right.
Oh, I did have it. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm thinking in ratios now. So 0.1 pulse per GIF, and so we are GIF per pulse. Sorry. So if we hit that 1,000, guys, it's not 1,000x. Even though it started at 1-to-1 with pulse, it dipped down 90% because of the sniper bots to 0.1 pulse, and so we're actually at a 10,000x if we hit 1,000. I don't know if you guys can see that up there.
982, only 18 away. No,
10,000x.
12 away. I don't know.
Didn't our boys, our bots dumping so early? Is there a lesson to be learned there? Our bots didn't get 10,000x. They could have just held on to it.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're in for the sweet swing trade, essentially, is what it is that they're going for. But that's that's not how you really get wealthy in crypto, unless you're like Jared from Subway.eth bot over on Ethereum, where the guy makes like $2 million every couple days or something like that, something ridiculous. He's got it figured out. But for the most part, 99% of the people are not making those gains. So in crypto, as we discussed earlier from Richard Hart, either a founder or a long-term holder is usually what makes you money.
I wonder if there's bots too that people program to, if they come across a token, they can, I guess essentially like whitelist certain tokens to, hey, don't, if you do sell it down, you're able to buy it back quickly. It's basically getting into our further ARB opportunities and stuff too. But I wonder, I don't know, a couple different directions on that. One, I wonder if there'll be bots made to automate a lot of the arbing on this protocol in the future as well. And two, if they'll be looking out for certain kind of protocols that they may not want to dump so quickly in order to get the thousands of X's.
But remember, when you just ARB and somebody uses the creation not inflation metric, it removes that supply. It's gone. Bye-bye. So if you actually G'd out your bag and somebody sees those candles and they instigate the tools that we have been teaching and been preaching and been explaining through game dev videos and all the other reinforcement loops, that supply's gone. And you hold the token that has all that economic energy. Not only are you removing it from them being able to ever do anything with it again, because they have to not just buy in higher, but buy in at a less supply, you now have even more economic energy into the system because you are a founder when you use the tools correctly.
Well, we'll get to the chart in just a minute too, but I want to hit this one community question. We got someone put it in the doc. Is there any automated LP by the contracts, or is LP 100% community driven?
100% community driven.
And just to add, that's not the experiment we're doing here, but we will be doing that experiment, but we're going to be doing it cross-chain. So that's one I'm really excited. And to anybody who's worried that it's GIF at the controls of coding all that, it's not me entirely. We have a fantastic dev, one of the best in our community, helping me out and helping us out. And he's doing a fantastic job. And so we're really stoked for Pulsar to come out. But
Hey,
that's
look at that icon.
where we do that experiment.
That's exactly right. Look at that icon.
Gorgeous.
That's
Who made that one?
Pulsar. Yeah.
Oh, that would be Mr. Durpin himself. He does everything that we do.
He seems to do a lot of artwork. Wow.
He does.
He's
He's always got the giftception at the top of his head.
I tell you what, man, he is so bloody fast though. He is so stupidly fast.
One more question too here on the buy and burn. Wow. I think man, again, I need to go back and rewatch the stream myself. I definitely am going to do that. One thought I had on the buy and burn was the liquidity. So if it's buying, so you have the pools, community driven, all that. The buy and burn itself, when it's going through and buying the PGIF, for example, and it's taking the pulse. I mean, how's that affecting the pools? How is it affecting the pools with these buy and burns? Is it helping there be more pulse available in the pools over time? How do you all see that being affecting the pools?
I think at the end of the day, it's almost a zero-sum game, with the caveat is if anytime you're generating any sort of volume on PulseChain, you're actually burning pulse based on the tokenomics of PulseChain itself. So at the end of the day, all the transactions are bullish on PulseChain.
Yeah, that's again another external secondary effect is that we're not actually directly buying and burning pulse, but just by running extra transactions, it's buying and burning pulse. So,
well, I'm talking about the 90% that's going to buy and burn the token. Isn't that affecting the pools? Like, let's say there's a bunch of pools set up and they're just
it's just providing more buy side support,
pools, right?
Yeah, it's more buy side support for those who want to trade in and out of the thing, because as you're removing the GIF or the iBurn supply or the PGIF supply, you're getting more pulse. So as the price goes up, you're thickening this buy side wall with it. Absolutely.
That seems to be good for the protocol too, because it's you don't even rely on people buying it to put the pulse in. You have the buy and burn, which is kind of like automatically, filling or manipulating the pools in a way that with more pulse, which is what people, if they want to, take profits or otherwise, like they're gonna. That's the other side of it, right?
Yeah, if they're not providing liquidity to hit their ranges and exiting out, when it's small amounts, like hit the pool real quick just to take advantage of this ARB opportunity. That's, sometimes it's just faster and easier just to do that. And it's now you've got thicker liquidity because of the last buy and burn that pushed it up over the ceiling.
I just want to bring this tweet up real quick, which is, So this was Somi tweeted about PulseX hits 4.2%. This is back on May 12th. Total buy and burn from non-OA supply. And then Kool-Aid, not to be outdone, and Gift hit 7.1% burned in 38 days. This is actually a very old post because if my numbers are correct, the prices went up significantly since then.
It's about twice that price now. Yeah,
that's just the price.
See what happened.
That has the buy and burn. What are we at as far as? Let me go. I can check it real quick here too.
The holders of the GIF, the debt address, are at 78 million. So 7.84% has been bought and burned, taken off the market.
By the way, can I just say how awesome Go Real DeFi is to actually hit all the things without the lag of all the other problems we have? So tip of the hat to you, sir.
I try not to make losing products. I try not to make any products at all, but I had to on this one. So thank you very much for that. I love using GoRealDeFi.com as well. $50 a month for AWS hosting seems to be going to a good place.
Nice,
man. I tell you what, it's only 3%. Oh no, 2.some% overtaking over that top wallet.
And and just to throw it out there, if you put it in today's value, that's $4.4 million used to buy and burn.
4.4 million
with a maximal extractable value of
$1 billion, Mr. Wigglesworth.
Monday.
But by the way, the PGIF was launched on April 4th. I happen to know that because it's my brother's birthday, but that's kind of wild if you think about between the 4th of April and what are we? That's a month and 10
May
days.
14th.
Yeah, a month and 10 days.
The other MEV, the maximal extracted value, was on my mind because I watched Sloth's stream yesterday where he was talking about that. I actually clipped it and I'm gonna put it on the channel too. It's really good, but just the ability to market cap versus and coins versus how much you can extract with liquidity. Can we do a quick liquidity check too and see what is actually what's in the pools as far as pools? It is dramatically different from a couple weeks ago when we last talked about it as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many different pools. I mean, we could go to, like I was showing you on this one, like the 9mm pool. 9mm is where the majority is, but I'll tell you what, it was all V2 is the original pool, and it's got almost as much liquidity in it now as what was once in the single-sided as things have gone up. So it's been amazing that just watching that catch up. Just as the price goes up and it fills up with more pools, your pools are catching up. But I don't know. This particular browser, I don't have.
Well, if you go to Dex Screener and just if you type in PGIF or GIF and just look at the pools and add them up, that's one way to do it.
Well, I just thought maybe if we could, let's see, stats. There we go. If you want to look at GIF and the different like so we've got just on the V3 side, you've got 2 million in liquidity for Giffordwear and you got 1 million in Permagift for liquidity. I don't know, do you want to see the ranges for those or what is it that you're after now?
Well, so we have 2 million, I think the number was 2 million for the PGIF and GIF, but for the Pulse, actually able to sell for Pulse, what would be the numbers or rough numbers for that? It's a few 100,000.
Well, from the Pulse, okay, so that would be total value locked. Looks like it's no, that's not right. For some reason, that's not reading right because what we're looking at here is 161,000, but on the sell side, it's about 76,000. But you guys have to understand too, and most good traders out there understand this. GIF is like tied to like 20 different tokens, and there's a lot of liquidity in all of them. So and thanks to DEX aggregators like Pateus, like look at all of those different pools you've got with liquidity. Thanks to Pateus, it will route through every single one of those to end up in Pulse if you really want to exit out without super dumping one particular pool in general.
Just looking at V2 too, we got 79K WPLS. I feel like there's around 200K or so. And then again, I'm so curious about the buy and burn if it's going to help with the not even community driven LP, but if the buy and burn is able to put make more Pulse available too, it's kind of like this positive system that the more it's used, the more that's going on with it, the more volume and stuff, the more the buy and burn is run and all that. If you want to exit or you want to take profits or whatever like that, even through LP, so the price rising would help. The price going up helps positions that are on the other side of that as well. But for actual people, for people who do want to, click market sell every once in a while, there's I want to say a couple 150, 200,000 in Pulse just in GIF, and then you have the PGIF pulls as well. So it isn't $10 worth of liquidity. I'll say that.
Yeah, but I still want to emphasize that there's so many other pools that Pateus, if you really wanted to exit out more than $76,000, you would have slippage, obviously, but Pateus would route you through multiple pools because there's other different routes that go to Pulse that aren't the direct method, the pool you're looking at right here. There's closer. I counted it up the other day, and I'm probably so out of date because I haven't kept up with it, but it was close to, I think it was 1.2 million amongst all pairs or something like that if you wanted to exit out. And I don't know if that's still the same because It being liquidity provided by the community does what's in their best interest, and that's the one thing you can always count on, is that people are going to do what's in their own best interest. And so if they got high enough in their ranges, maybe they pulled some liquidity. I don't know. So
let's do moment of truth here. Let's do this. I don't know what's give me a number. What's a high number?
Probably 10 million would be huge. Yeah.
Yeah, so 86,000 just to pay us here. And if we do, funny enough, there, if you do die too, I was playing around with this too. There's sometimes, yeah. So if you go through die, 155K, which I was kind of surprised. I thought it'd be the other way around. I thought you'd be able to get more pulse than die. But funny enough, if you go through die, you can actually get the dollars out with even. I'm just trying to show people too.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of liquidity provided to stable coins out there. So there's a lot of different pools that'll end up in stable coin.
Yeah. You have a good point. As far as it routing through different places, we saw that with the buy and burn. It was routing through. I think I saw it's routing through Hex at some point as well. 114K. Yeah, I mean, it's still there's money. Again, everyone, it's trying to show people too, like, if you don't feel like, oh, you got into something that you're just trapped forever and like not able to get money out and all this stuff. First of all, very early. Second of all, just in the last couple of weeks, it has grown dramatically on LP in both directions. A lot of the supply has been taken off the market, and then a lot of it, a lot more liquidity has came onto the market as well, as far as DAI and or Pulse and stuff too. So that's interesting. Guys, we got 10 minutes left exactly. Cannot go a minute over. What is the most important thing to cover? Again, I failed everyone. Did not get through halfway through the doc.
I don't think we never really get to level 3. You know, it's kind of
going
funny.
There. Part 3 gets to level 3. Part 3 gets to level 3.
Okay.
We're getting there.
Well, the difference is what's wild is you can, every time that you write a question, you can see the reaction in real time, which makes you almost have to go back to square one and rebalance the loops that is actually building there, which is wild, but this is systemic design. How
do you rebuild the loops?
You reinforce and balance the loop. That is why, again, watch the Mike Sellers. He does a much better explaining it like I'm 5, because I don't do that well. Ask Kinetics. He tries to tell me. I'm like, I can't.
Okay. Actually, I've got 2 important questions. I think we get 2 real quick. Okay. So at this point, we've seen. So you alluded to it earlier. I'm telling you guys in green, I keep having to change the doc. I'm like, oh, 500x, 600x, 700x, 800x. Now it's 900x, and that is from the launch price. It was actually, again, we talked about it a little bit earlier, dumped down to 0.1 PLS per GIF. The launch price was one PLS per GIF. It was dumped down to 0.1 PLS per GIF. When it hits 1,000 PLS per GIF from the all-time low, that would be a 10,000x. But let's just say depending on how you count it. Anyways, it's up a lot right now. What do you think people are betting on? Yeah, I know I said that very simply. What do you guys think if they're buying it now versus if they were buying it when it was, I remember when it was, 36 PLS and 88 PLS and 200 PLS.
And we thought that was crazy at that time. That was the funny thing about it.
People look in this chart, they're just like, you know what? I just want to be on the green candle express. Like are they betting on the new protocols coming? What do you think? Again, don't give me expectations, but like, what do you think people are, when they see this, they see the ecosystem, they see the performance. What is intriguing about, like, okay, now, like, I get it now. All right, let me get in.
I'll let someone else take that away.
I'm team tech, so that's what I'm about. I think innovation was something that was really hurting in PulseChain for a little while now. I don't even really want to say hurting. I just want to say a little stagnated, right?
Yeah.
It was kind of doing the same things over and over, and then like people just get bored and they start doing, non-interesting things. Yeah. So I wanted to push the tech forward. I don't want to speak for Kool-Aid, but if I could, translate for him a little bit, is he's all about the narratives. He's all about what's the bigger picture. What are we trying to put together? Like, what can we break and then rebuild? And what will we learn from that? Right. yeah, I think it's amazing. And you know, Kinetics comes from a completely different perspective. I know that because he was fantastic to spar with when we were getting into the leaky ship stuff, right? Like it was fantastic banter on that. And I learned a lot. And there was things that I told him, I was like, that was a really good point. And let's circle back to that. And I'd have to spend how long? I usually spend like 2 or 3 days, and I'd get back to you, and we'd hash it out.
At least one night to wake up in the middle of the night thinking about it, because that tends to be your style. Is you'll wake up in the middle of the night and be like, oh wait, I think I've solved that.
Yeah, there's something wrong with me. I dream like that. Like that's how I fix things. It's wild. I wake up and I think I'm still thinking about it in the morning. But yeah, no, I want Kool-Aid to answer this. I want both of you guys to answer this. But for me, I'm Team Tech. I'm fascinated with the nerdy stuff. I'm fascinated with the blockchain, just how it works in general, and how the value comes from it. And I mean, when we start messing with programmable currencies, where's the limit? There should not be any limit on what we can build.
Yep.
And that's what excites me. But I'll let you guys go now.
Well, sure. And from Team Art, right? But when GIF first started, I cannot express this enough, first started learning Python, and we started steel manning before he even brought that to my attention, what steel manning and straw manning was, right? I was like, you're going to be one of the most dangerous programmers in the world because you already think like a systemic designer and you never worked in games. And that's where we built our friendship, what, 2.5 years, almost 3 years now at this point. It's bloody wild. From Team Art, in my point of view, it's all about systemic design and narrative and how do we bucket it all together. Gifford is surgical, I'm spatial. So I'll run ahead with a whole bunch of ideas and plot them all out. And he's like, not today, not today, not today, not today, maybe later. And so, and that's what we do is we seesaw back and forward, just like we show it in the mechanics. It's the most honor I've ever had to have a sparring partner like this. And I've searched for it my entire damn game dev career. And that's why when you get specialty teams like Arcane or something like that, you make something special because everyone's on the same sparring team and everyone levels up everything together, which is what we have in our core. From all of our core people in our team, our community, all the people are all coming up together. I can't stress the founder premise enough. Everyone's a founder if you use the tools correctly.
Yeah, I got one more question. I want to leave everyone with some fireworks. You know, you came to the show, you got to hear the meat and potatoes, you got to see the pretty lights flashing, you got the screens flashing back and forth. We didn't draw any squiggly lines today, but we saw some green candles. I want to give people last thought here, last question. So the PLS price. It's been, you know, up, down, sideways, all that stuff. What, you know, if you buy something that's supposed to be leverage on ETH, PLS, anything else, what is it that you're trying to do? And for this, how, you know, the entire existence of GIF, we haven't seen PLS do a run up. What do we end up see happen? Like what could we end up see happening if PLS does do a run up? Even like we talked, you know, earlier I mentioned about the super leverage and it hasn't went up or down based on MPLS and stuff. Is that like one of the key, like fundamental things that we haven't even seen yet of this, if PLS goes on a run?
Yeah, PLS has only gone down since this was been available. So we've only seen this rise versus PLS. Now, I do expect some correction in the ratio between PLS and GIF. As PLS is going up, people are going to want to try to hop on that train and take gains out of something that they've already got gains on, like GIF. But I expect that the compensation on the USD price side is going to more than compensate for what you're seeing with the ratio between GIF and Pulse as that goes down.
Not only that, when I tried to get all of us started with this idea, I said Titan X was proof of ETH. GIF Tech is proof of Pulse. And everything that we're building on it is proof of Pulse. So that rubber band on top of it is the most important thing that you can understand for the future.
I agree.
So I'm just thinking too, if things stay stable, let's say PLS goes up and GIF, whatever, the PGIF, iBurn, like all the stuff, is the ratios stay stable. USD price just go up?
Absolutely. But I don't.
You used to be able to see it in the beginning of the chart, like in the very, very, very beginning of the chart, when the experimentation, the simulation was just playing out. When Pulse would start to rise a little bit, GIF would go flat a little bit. And this was actually before we even started having the leverage of the seesaws in between the buy and burn. And that's the very interesting thing about this.
Yeah,
Now,
I think just going back to your point real quick, Max. Yeah, absolutely. You know, when Pulse goes up and the ratios stay the same. But I expect the ratios between GIF and Pulse to come down a little bit. I think people are going to try to hop on the run up for PLS. But at the same time, that's just going to make the buy and burn more profitable to buy those ratios better, pushing that ratio back up against itself. So US dollar value goes up, and then we just watch the ratios between GIF and Pulse as the price of Pulse goes up.
Amazing, gentlemen. Amazing. Final words. Where can people, I mean, I don't know if they need to know where to find about the products, because just watch my channel and you'll see that stuff, and the Gifford Tech channel as well, of course. But where can they find you gentlemen before we hop off here? Amazing conversation.
I always enjoy talking with you.
Yeah, always a pleasure. You can find me in the Telegram. Just come into our Telegram. There's a whole bunch of great mods in there, Mo and Elite, and more importantly, our communities are answering most of our questions for us. Like they're battle hardened, they're trained. They know what to. They know how to explain it better than I can. So yeah, just come on into the Telegram and come chit chat.
Almost 1,000 members in Telegram, and almost 1,000 PLS per GIF. That's look at that coincidence.
Yeah, between you, Mo, and Maddie's PulseChain conference, this thing has done like a 4x in users in the chat room alone in the last week.
Wow. Any last words, gentlemen? What you guys got 30 seconds we got to wrap this up. We got stuff to do. We got arbs to perform, all that good stuff. What do you guys want?
I love how smart our community is. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for your support. We really do appreciate it. And we're not perfect over here, but we're willing to take advice or at least some suggestions from people. Thank you guys for all your input.
Sanity checks are the most important thing in the world. And that's where Giff and I actually started with everything. It's like he was my sanity check on a lot in the very, very beginning, long before we started on this path here, because he thinks on the other side. So always learn. Knowledge is the most expensive token in the world, and we're always in the community. All of our people are willing to listen. Because again, this is what we harvest: knowledge.
Yeah, just like Ty Lopez says.
I think last thing I want to say is team is everything, and we have an amazing team, and we have an amazing extended team as well. The number of people, and I'm talking about artists, devs, community members, people who are skilled in Telegram, people who are skilled all across the board. You don't have to go out and find people when you're in a good project. They come to you. And, it's so rewarding to see people come together and build what they're excited about. No expectations. We're not trying to build things for other people. We're doing it ourselves. And every person who is interacting with our community, every person who is explaining the tokenomics, which are not easy to grasp, they're all part of the team. We're all on the same team, and the experimenting has only just begun.
Yep. Shout out to Elite and the Mo. I got to give them credit for their work in the Telegrams. Yes. Best mods ever. Best mods ever.
100.
They're awesome. They're awesome. A lot of great community members in Telegram. Otherwise, I see. I just really want to create value, and that's Again, that's what like Giffordwear said. You don't have to attract people that come to you. So what you guys are building, again, I wish I was told harder. However, once I saw it, I was like, I can't. This is too cool. All right, let's talk about this type of thing.
Pull out our pocket protectors, guys.
Yeah, you got to pencil in the jacket pocket there. All right, everyone, that's all we got for you today. At The Real Kinetics, at Forlade, at Giffordwear on Twitter, something of that nature. Got all the links. You just watch the channel. Tinyurl.com/learn Permabull. I'll put it in the chat. You have all the information you need, and well, you forced, gentlemen, you forced a part 3. You forced it. I didn't do it. You forced it. You didn't cover it all. So we have to come here and have a good conversation again. It's just gotta happen, right? Signed up?
I think we should do this again. Yes.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, I'm glad Connect came by too. You killed it, man. And
thanks, brother.
It's not easy. It's not easy to keep up with Galaxy brains, but I think you're the Galaxy brain, and they're trying to keep up with you at this point. Like, I think there's something to be said there. Like you are a huge part of what's going on. So
one day he will
for the ride.
translate very fluently, and then from there it's dangerous.
No, these guys are way smarter than I am. I got to give credit where credit's due. I can't take credit for that.
There's technical side, and then there's like, can you tell somebody about this where they actually understand and will be into it? And I think, this community is awesome. You guys are doing a great job. Anyways, everyone, of course, that's all we got for you today. Scivive and 5555. We were out.